Team, hope you're doing well. Welcome back to our REDCap training sessions. In this session, we'll be focusing on the process around using REDCap for our case and contact symptom checking. So just a quick overview. We have a manual and electronic symptom checking process that we've created in REDCap. Symptom checks with index cases and household contacts. So the logic behind our REDCap symptom checking process, it's been configured in a way that will allow symptom checking to proceed for both cases and household contacts whilst the case is symptomatic, and then once the case has met the clearance criteria and been asymptomatic for 48 hours. The household contacts are then able to remain on the REDCap symptom checking process and continue on the same pathway until their 14-day self-isolation has been completed. And then I'll also just have a quick chat about what happens if a household contact becomes symptomatic during their 14-day self-isolation, and then also just talk about the case and contact clearance form that we've developed as well. Cool, so as I mentioned before, we have a manual and electronic symptom checking process. So if during the scoping of a case it is identified that they would either prefer to be on the manual symptom checking process, or you feel that it's just best for them to be on the manually symptom checked, this case and contact management team will be required to call the case and complete their daily symptom check with them. The way that you would be able to access their REDCap records or their record on REDCap is if you have access to our ops reports, which hopefully this will take us there. Awesome. So this is what the ops reports look like, and for you as a case and contact management team member, you would be navigating to the REDCap COVID-19 symptom check tab. So the symptom check tab includes these two tables right here. So right now we have our REDCap simulation training data loaded into these ops reports. So what would happen is that this first table here is all the symptom checks that have been incomplete. You have a link here to the REDCap ID in this column here. Right now it's not linked to any REDCap IDs because we don't have any cases loaded into REDCap in production. But what would happen is that you'll be able to click on the case's REDCap ID link right here, say for number 1, it'll be highlighted blue like the MDCMS link. You'll be able to click there and it'll take you through to the REDCap dashboard, which would look a little something like this. You would then navigate down here to the daily symptom checks. So for this case, it'll be the daily symptom check day 1. And then click on that circle and it'll take you to this form here, where you would then enter today's date, first attempt of contacting them, and then go through the form here. For the ops reports, we've also been able to link you through to their NDCMS file as well. So you would then click any of these record NDCMS links down here, and that'll take you straight to the NDCMS file, where you can then either copy and paste progress notes from REDCap through to the NDCMS link. Our participant type, you'll be able to identify whether it is a case or a contact that you will be phoning. And then also the team, you'll be able to know which team is assigned to. You can also see page 11 of our REDCap expansion training document. for steps on how to access the report. Go back one. Access the report if you ever get lost later on. We also have an electronic symptom checking process where, so through scoping, again, it's identified that the case would prefer to carry on with our electronic symptom checking process. So you would then confirm their email address with them, add that in the email address field, and just advise them that from that day, every day at 8 AM, they'll be getting they will receive a link to our REDCap symptom checking form for them to complete. And then if it's not completed at the 8 AM, from the link sent out at 8 AM, then they'll receive follow-up emails hourly up to 3 times until it is completed. So the links will look a lot of something like this. Let me just get it for you. Okay. So if we were carrying on from yesterday, sorry, not yesterday, from the scoping and contact tracing REDCap sessions that we recorded, that you would have watched. I done the scoping for a case called Braden Baxter. So this morning I received an email at 8 o'clock this morning. That looked a little something like this. With a link to the daily symptom check form. And then I received one again at 9, 10, and again at 11. So now I'm just going to go through the process as if I was Raven Baxter. So I have received this email and the link. I would click on it. And then I'll be directed here. The name has been pre-populated. We've asked that the daily symptom checks are done by 11 o'clock each morning. Contact details here. Enter today's date. So if I have become unwell or remained unwell since in the past day, since I have been scoped, I'll click yes, and then identify what symptoms I continue to have. I say no. Just keep like that. We also have some welfare and cultural support advice here. Further information that we can click to. Do you or your household have any welfare requirements? If they select yes, then a welfare application will be sent to the case and contact management team, and then someone will be in contact with them to complete the welfare application. However, for today, I'll select no. And then we also have a field here for people to, or for the case to just write anything that they think you need to know. Cool. And so that's all that the case would be doing if they were to go down our electronic symptom checking pathway. So we'll submit that. And then if there are still incomplete symptom checks done, they will be highlighted in this report, in this table of the report here. Now, if the case remains symptomatic, that process, the previous process that I was just talking about before, will continue. Once it's been identified that the case is now asymptomatic and has met clearance criteria, what will happen is that the initial form of the case, which I will show here, the survey status will be kept as active, and then the date of last exposure will be updated here. Okay, so if the case is now asymptomatic and has met clearance criteria, if you are following up with a case to do manual symptom checks, manual follow-up. The case and contact team member will identify that the case has been asymptomatic for 48 hours and has also met clearance criteria. They will then discuss this with their PH, their team lead, and also the symptom checking MO for their approval, and then the case and contact clearance form will be completed. Following that, some key identifiers will be amended in the case's initial form on REDCap, which will then carry on the household contacts for their 14-day self-isolation daily symptom check kind of period as well. That's similar to the electronic symptom checking process. So clearance criteria is met. There's some logic that has been developed around that, where then the initial form of the case is set to inactive. The REDCap team member then amends, where one of our REDCap team members will amend this in REDCap. And then the date of last exposure will remain on that date, the date that the case has been cleared. And then their household contacts will continue to complete symptom checking for their 14-day self-isolation period. Now, so what happens if a contact becomes symptomatic and reports this to one of the case and contact management team members or through the electronic symptom checking process? So they will be highlighted in our symptom checking ops report, which will be in this table here. Again, we will have a link to their REDCap record ID, the MDCMS link, what kind of participant they are, so if they are a case or a contact, or a case of a residential institution, a contact of a residential institution, what team they have been assigned to, the date that they have reported symptoms, what symptoms and the severity of their symptoms. I'm also highlighting what symptoms they might be experiencing. So for this report, again, case and contact management teams will be able to access this report and will be able to act on it accordingly. Then that's where a decision will be made on whether the contact is to be made into a case or into a probable case. Cool, so if you were a case and contact management team member and you were contacting Raven to complete a manual symptom check, you'd enter today's date and the time of first contact, which we will make now. And if the attempt was unsuccessful, you'd enter your name there, so I'll put my name there, and then you'll just write a note. So on mobile number, landline, cool, so that's kind of like just writing a progress note there, so we'll keep that there. And then we will then go and click save and exit record, which will then make this, let's do it now, save and exit record, and ignore and leave record, which will then make, if I go here, oh there we go, which will then make the day one symptom check show up with a red dot. This means that it has been incomplete, which allows us to go back in later on once we make our second attempt at contacting Raven and amend accordingly. So let's say We try to call her again now, and the attempt was successful. We are right lining again. And then continue on with the with our daily symptom check-ins. And we can go change that to complete because we've now completed this form. And then save and exit record. Cool. Okay, so that's the end of our case and contact symptom check-in process that we have created here on REDCap. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to come see myself, Tamara or Taylor here in room 12 on level 1, or feel free to flick us an email at any time. Okay then, thanks guys.